Welcome, and thank you for trusting us with your sources for this deep dive. Our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going to unpack the core structural movements that really shape yesterday's world. So let's just jump right in. Before we get into the weeds, what's the simplest way to summarize the big theme from yesterday?
I think yesterday was really defined by a critical and widening velocity mismatch. That was the key structural weight of the day.
Velocity mismatch. Okay.
Yeah, we saw the rapid, almost nonlinear acceleration of AI infrastructure, which, moves at the speed of capital.
Right, at the speed of light.
Exactly. And it's running directly into the heavy constraints of physical systems. We're talking about power grids, resources, and just, frankly, slow-moving institutions.
So the digital world is hitting a physical wall.
It is. And what that means, functionally, is that the global map seems to be shifting. It's less about national lines now and more about these highly functional urban and regional corridors.
That's a great frame. That tension, that clash between digital speed and concrete reality is exactly what we need to track. So let's get into our three deep topics for the day. We should start with the biggest investment signal we saw. Microsoft's massive commitment to India.
Right.
The number itself, $17.5 billion, it grabs the headline. But I mean, for a country the size of India, is that number on its own really a game changer? Why is this specific investment getting so much attention?
That is the perfect question, and it gets to the real weight of this. India is crucial here because it has the scale, the population, and the real need for modernization. It's a laboratory for the future.
A test bed?
A massive test bed. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people who need access to these next-gen services.
So what exactly happened? What's underneath that big dollar sign?
Well, Microsoft announced that huge investment, all focused on AI and cloud infrastructure. But the critical detail is in the structure. It's tied to a plan to develop public AI models and a huge workforce training program.
So it's not just selling cloud services to corporations.
Not at all. It's designed as a holistic, almost a national level plan.
And why does that matter so much? That focus on public foundations and training.
Because it's a signal with high global weight. It's an experiment in what we're calling national level AI socialization.
AI socialization.
Yeah, this isn't just a tech rollout. It's an attempt to weave AI into government services, healthcare, tax administration, daily life on an enormous scale. If they can make it work in India with all its complexity, it becomes a blueprint for other large developing economies.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting and where we come back to your velocity mismatch. If this plan even partly succeeds, the sheer scale of that digital infrastructure has to run up against the physical reality of India's system.
It already is. The ambition of this project immediately puts immense real-life pressure on India's physical operating system.
You mean the power grid?
The power grid. Power generation, transmission, all of it. The digital plan is instant. You flip a switch and you need gigawatts. But the physical constraint, getting reliable electricity over vast distances, that becomes the main challenge to the success of the whole thing.
So it's a race between the speed of data and the speed of laying copper wire.
That's it, exactly.
And that India story is a perfect segue into the core physical problem facing the entire AI ecosystem globally.
Yeah.
Power.
Yes.
We all know AI needs energy, but the actual costs has been a bit fuzzy. What's the newly quantified cost of scaling AI that came out yesterday?
Well, the context is just this explosive growth and demand for generative AI. Every major company is rushing to build these massive data centers, and they are just incredible power hogs. The financial investment has been relentless. The power infrastructure, not so much.
It hasn't kept up. So what was the calculation that hit the market?
A new industry trial calculation from Coface. They're a credit insurer and analyst group, and they try to put a hard number on this infrastructure gap. The finding is pretty stark. They estimate that for every $1 billion you invest in a new AI data center, you have to invest about $125 million more at the same time in supporting power infrastructure.
So generation, transmission lines, transformers.
All of it, the slow, heavy, physical components.
Wow. So $1 in AI requires 12.5 cents just for the power grid to support it. That ratio feels like a breaking point. Why is that specific number so significant globally?
Because it exposes the global bottleneck in terms everyone can understand. Financial investment is a fast-moving theme. You can move $1 billion with a keystroke.
But you can't build a power plant with a keystroke.
You absolutely cannot. Building grids, getting permits for a solar farm, laying miles of transmission line, it's painfully slow.
Yeah.
It's concrete and steel and labor.
The speed of finance versus the speed of physics again.
Precisely. And this velocity mismatch is the primary source of global tension right now. It means even wealthy nations are going to hit physical walls. You can't just, order more electricity from Amazon.
So the limiting factor isn't capital anymore. It's not even the chips.
It's reliable, available, transmitted electricity. This calculation is a huge signal for potential energy shortages and rising costs worldwide in the midterm, simply because supply cannot keep up with this newly quantified demand.
So for a country like India, that 12.5% isn't just a number. It's a heavy tax on their ambition.
A massive tax. It means the real cost of joining the AI revolution is way higher than just buying chips and software. They have to divert enormous capital to physical infrastructure first.
Which leads us perfectly to our third deep dive, which shifts from the problem to potential solutions. Let's look at the African continent. What major movements are happening there with energy infrastructure?
The background here is just this powerful juxtaposition. Africa has some of the world's best untapped solar and hydro resources, just incredible potential.
But power access is still a huge daily challenge.
A huge challenge. You have resource richness right alongside energy scarcity.
So what happened yesterday? What's the progress on that front?
A major cross-continental power grid integration project is being conceptualized and pushed forward pretty aggressively.
So not just connecting two countries, but something much bigger.
Much bigger. It's a vast, interconnected effort to solve that local access problem by pooling generation capacity and sharing it across different regions.
That sounds like a monumental task. Why does this energy reorganization matter so much for the long term, beyond just, getting the lights on locally?
Because it's a fundamental reordering of the energy operating system for the continent. It's deeply strategic. You're linking renewables, improving transmission, and boosting regional economies all at once.
So you move from national energy security to regional resilience.
Exactly. And this raises an important question that connects back to everything we've been talking about.
Okay.
While solving local access is obviously critical, this new infrastructure lays the groundwork for the future of global AI.
You mean it creates the conditions for future data center hubs?
That's it. When you solve the power problem on a continental scale, especially with renewables, you attract the builders. So this energy OS reordering is having a profound impact on millions of lives today, but it's also a fundamental, long-term transformation that's preparing the continent for the next digital wave.
Okay, so that gives us three heavy structural movements. Now let's scan the globe for some quicker signals, the less visible but still impactful movements, the tension points.
Let's start with supply chain rewiring, geopolitics.
First up, Latin America's green supply rewiring. What happened?
Driven by instability in the U.S. dollar regime, Latin America is moving to reorganize its supply chains directly with the EU. It's positioning itself as a green supply base.
And the practical implication.
It's a regional OS-level rewiring. We're talking about critical materials, things like lithium and copper that are essential for EVs, for renewables, and for all AI hardware. It's a quiet but very profound shift.
Number two, Sub-Saharan Africa. Digital M&A acceleration. What's moving there?
A quiet, steady acceleration of M&A activity. Telecom towers, fiber networks, local data centers. And the key detail is that these deals almost always incorporate renewable energy solutions right from the start.
Which connects right back to the grid deep dive.
Absolutely. They're building a local digital OS. The value isn't in immediate GDP, it's in creating the connection map for future AI service delivery. They're building the highways before the traffic arrives.
Next, let's look at cities reacting to this power AI demand. Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
A new concept for a 200-megawatt AI data center park is progressing there.
200 megawatts is a serious commitment. What's the signal for urban planning?
It's a clear city-driven shift. Urban planning can no longer treat power as an afterthought. If you want to compete as a tech hub, you now have to centrally plan for massive power, water, and talent. It's the new cost of entry.
Okay, moving over to Australia, Western Sydney.
Approval was given for a major, $3.1 billion Australian dollar data center campus. It's set to be one of the largest hubs in the Southern Hemisphere.
So that's a staggering concentration of energy density in one spot. What's the immediate effect?
A massive, concentrated accumulation of electricity stress. The digital density is growing so fast, it's forcing the immediate, urgent expansion and reconfiguration of the regional power grid. The physical infrastructure isn't just playing catch-up, it's scrambling.
You'll see that in their local news, I
Oh,
imagine.
for sure. Watch the energy news out of that corridor.
And finally, let's complete the Southeast Asia picture. Jakarta, Indonesia.
Construction has officially begun on a 120 megawatt hyperscale DC campus there.
So when you put Jakarta and Ho Chi Minh City together, what does that imply for the region?
It's actively reshaping the AI infrastructure map across Southeast Asia. They're intensifying demand for both specialized talent and, crucially, stable power. These cities are in direct competition to become the digital center of gravity for that whole region. So, what does this all mean when we pull it all together? The deep topics and the light signals.
What's the overall picture?
I think the picture is clear. The world is fundamentally being rewired. We are moving past this idea that AI is just software. AI infrastructure is now structurally inseparable from electricity and grid redesign.
Right.
And you see new regions, India, parts of Africa, Latin America, they're accelerating their own internal OS integration around talent, power, and AI, often creating these functional zones that are more important than traditional national borders.
So for you, the listener, where should you focus your attention next? What's the actionable takeaway?
The most intense areas of tension, where that investment speed smashes into physical limits, they're accumulating really fast in Southeast Asia and in that Western Sydney corridor in Australia. Watch the power grid news in those areas. That's your earliest signal of where this mismatch will create real-world bottlenecks.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the core structural challenge for the next few years isn't about who perfects the next large language model. It's not about the next chip.
It's about who can power it. It's about which governments and regions can reliably generate and transmit the massive amounts of power required to run them. The strategic focus is shifting, from the silicon to the copper wire, from the algorithm to the substation.
A fascinating and incredibly grounding perspective. Thank you for diving deep with us. Go forth well-informed.